Hello Magic fans, I'm Beef and welcome back to another Historic Brawl gameplay video. And today we are playing Kefka, Court Mage, one of the more powerful legendary commanders from the new Final Fantasy set. I was going to play this for the first match, for the first deck last week, but decided to play Vivi instead. But Kefka, I think, is actually probably a bit more powerful than Vivi. We have built a very, very nasty control deck to work with Kefka. So who is Kefka? Kefka is the main bad guy from Final Fantasy VI. He is he starts off as basically a court jester. He's called the Court Mage here, and he is a clown, a bit like the Joker, and then he turns into a really big douchebag. So he is a 5 mana in Grixis, so blue, black, and red. He is a 4/5, which pretty beefy body, and he says whenever he enters or attacks, each player discards a card, so it does include you. Then you draw a card for each card type among cards discarded this way. So if you both discard a land, you draw 1 card. If you discard a land and your opponent discards a creature, you draw 2 cards. And for example, if you discard let's say you discard a land and your opponent discards an artifact creature or an enchantment creature, you'll draw 3 cards. Obviously, in proper Commander, whereas 4 players, you're more likely to draw a lot more cards. But in one-on-one, obviously you always draw 1 card unless no one has any cards in hand. But you're more likely to draw 1 to 2. I say 3 is possible and 4 is possible, but highly unlikely. And then he has a activated ability for 8. Each opponent sacks a permanent of their choice, and then you transform Kefka. You go to as a sorcery, and Kefka transforms into Kefka, Ruler of Ruin, a 5/7 flyer. Says whenever opponent loses life during your turn, you draw that many cards. So because of the way transform works, I think I've said it before, but some transform cards will say exile and return transformed. When you exile something and return transform, it counts as a different card, so it will have summoning sickness. But for Kefka and a lot of the other transform cards in Final Fantasy, because it just says transform, you can then attack straight away because it's the same card essentially. So if you have 8 mana, you can get your opponent to sack a permanent, turn into Kefka, Ruler of Ruin, and then hit him for 5, draw 5 cards. Now that sack a permanent of their choice, that's important. It doesn't say non-land permanent, so they can sack lands. But as if anyone who watches Needs to Hone channel will say, you will know, Needs to Hone says a lot. They will always choose something that hurts them the least. So if they've got a big person in the way, a big blocker in the way, or a nasty creature, they may sack a land as opposed to their big creature. They'll sack a token or an artifact or whatever. But if your opponent has nothing else apart from lands, they will have to sack a land. But in that case, you're probably going to win anyway. So just be aware of that. So a very powerful card, very powerful trigger, wiping out your opponent's hand. Now, normally I would put the cards into piles, but in fact, there's kind of too many. So I'm just going to quickly go through what we have. So we have counter spells like Pact of Negation, Wash Away. We do have Stifle to counter activated triggered abilities, for example, against a mirror match of Kefka. We do have Counterspell or the Wild Rose Rebellion in the new Final Fantasy set, and Mana Drain, and Jwari Disruption, and Commandeer, which is not technically not a counterspell. You gain control of target non-creature spell. You may choose new targets for it. Just be aware, in one of the games you will see I did a bit of a punt where I cast this on a removal spell, but because our opponent didn't have any creature on the board, I couldn't change targets, so still took out a commander. Still won though, so not a problem. And things like Urtai, which can work as both a counterspell and a destruction. We do have some discard spells like Thoughtseize and Inquisition of Kozilek and Duress. And Rakdos Return's really good. It's black and red and X. Deals X damage to target opponent or planeswalker, then that player or the planeswalker controller discards X cards. So if you have 7 mana, you can cause your opponent discards 5 cards, which would probably be most of their hand. Then we have some small payoffs, so like Waste Not. We get some value when our opponent does discard cards. And you could quite easily play Tergrid in this deck as well, but I've not got Tergrid, which when your opponent discards the cards, you steal their permanents. Then we have removal, like obviously Lightning Bolt, where is it? Thrum of the Vestige, but also sweepers in like Toxic Deluge, Languish, and Yehenni's Expertise. And what's the point about these is Languish and Yehenni's Expertise won't kill Kefka. Because they deal 4 and -4, -4, -3, -3, so our Kefka can still live. So if it wipes our opponent's board, we can still attack, and yeah, he'll be a lot smaller, but we still get that trigger from Kefka. And then a bit of target removal in like Profane, Further Profane, Hagra Maulin. We don't have like the usual target removal, like Infernal Grasp and Heartless Act and go for the throat and stuff like that, because it's not really needed at all. And then, yeah, our big finisher, apart from Kefka's are smashing in, we've got Fury, which can act as a bit of removal as well, and then Hullbreaker Horror. And we have quite a lot of card drawing, Dig Through Time, Treasure Cruise, and things like Step Between Worlds and Days Undoing shuffles our hand and graveyard back into our deck. And things like Memory Deluge can get through our things as well. And things like Displacer Kitten can just bounce, flicker Kefka to carry on getting that Enters trigger if we want to. And Spark Double can come down as a non-legendary version of Kefka, so we can also get doubled up triggers. And then we have other things like Orcish Bowmasters and Baleful Strix, Expressive Innovation. Crocs is really good as well, causing our opponent to discard. And over discard means, you know, we're more likely to deal 3 damage to them because it won't have a card in hand. So a really, really powerful deck, as in 100% win rate territory at the moment. We've only played 5 games at the moment. I'll play a few more before putting the video out, but he is really, really powerful. And if you can get him out and keep up some counter spells, it's really good. And, you know, and if your opponent's a reasonably quick deck, you might play Kefka early from, you know, some of our round. We don't have a huge amount, but Arcane Signet, Relic of Legends, and Dark Ritual. There we go. You know, you could just wipe out your opponent's hand before they get a chance to take him out. Also, a weird thing, when he comes down, he sounds like Zoidberg from Futurama. Boop, 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 boop. So just be aware of that. Mana base, obviously, lots of dual lands. We've got Xander's Lounge Trial, and we do have a Mysterized Village, which can cause a spell not to be countered. And we do have Cavern of Souls put on Wizards. We only have 2 Wizards, I think, in the deck. And we also have Urborg to turn everything black. And Gyric Sanitarium just help with the discard theme. So that's the deck. Really, really powerful. Really, really like Kefka. I'm getting a hankering to replay Final Fantasy VI. Not played it in a long time. So let me know what you think. Please remember to like and subscribe and share it with a friend. If you've got a friend who likes Magic, send them my way. I will gobble up the subscribers. Remember to leave a comment down below about what you like, what you didn't like, what you would like me to do more of, what you'd like me to do better. If there's any decks you want to see me play, especially with Commanders in Final Fantasy. There are loads I want to play, including some in the Final Fantasy for the Ages, which are reprints of old cards. But a lot of those old cards we've not got on Arena, and including partner cards. Partner cards are Commanders, which lets you have 2 Commanders if they both have partner. So you can have 2 Commanders and access to all the colours that entails. And you'll see one of the matchups is against a partner deck. So really looking forward to playing some of those decks. So in the meantime, hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you all in the gameplay. We are up against the mirror match. And I think we mulligan this. Well, this is much better. But we do have a couple of counter spells. I think we surveil turn 1 then. We'll get a black-blue. Yeah, we'll keep that. Well, I think we just kill that before it can scry. Let's get our Thundering Falls. I'll get another island. Commandeer is only non-creature spells, but Wash Away can obviously take care of. Actually, it can't. We've got most of a lot of our fetch lands out of the way. It only destroys artifact, doesn't it? Yeah. We can't counter there. Kefka. Now, we're going to do this, because I imagine I have a counter spell. Oh, they don't. Yeah, why not? We can't counter their Kefka anyway, so... Oh! That was stupid. Well, they didn't have a counter spell, so we can 4? 1, 2, yeah. They now have to discard 4. There's some big hitters in there. Well, okay, that discard 4 was a bit pointless. Well, we can Inquisition of Kozilek and then still Kefka. You generally don't want to do that before a discard spell, because then we could just take your discard spell. We'll take the Blood Chiefs first. And we'll discard... They're probably going to discard their mountain. We'll discard a land. Oh no, they didn't discard their mountain. There is their Kefka, which we can't counter. Let's discard Faithless Looting. Let's discard the Pact. Well, let's attack in. Let's discard Malakir Rebirth. There's our Commandeer back. We kill their commander, and then I think we hold up Hullbreaker Horror. We don't have anything to cast with it though. But that's fine. Let's pitch our Step Between Worlds. They don't have any lands. Well, they might have 1 mana left. Let's pitch Expressive Iteration. Well, I could kill our own commander and their commander with Yahenni's Expertise. Is that sorcery speed? Yeah. Actually, let's do that. We've not seen him transform yet. And let's evoke Grief and get rid of Languish. We'll pitch their Chromox. And we'll take their One Ring. And we can commandeer. We'll pitch Henny's Expertise. We don't have anything in our hand anyway. Well, we will about to actually, after we steal our Ancestral Recall. Fair enough. Well, play this on Wizard, not that it really matters. But I think we're about to draw 5 cards. Clock's up. Yes, we'll pay the 1. They lose their Bandit's Talent. I mean, we could just get it back straight away, but let's not be greedy. We'll auto-pay that. And yeah, that causes them to scope, stifling their Kefka activation. Well, Ugin's going to be tough. But we can get Kefka out early. And maybe destroy a mana rock with Prismari Command. We need... What colour do we have? White and black. So if this gets... I think I've got to get Xander's Lounge. And then actually we'll Arcane Signet. For... Black, blue. This means we can get down Kefka next turn. We will pitch Kefka's Tower, maybe. Probably Step Between Worlds. Yeah, let's put back Step Between Worlds. And we'll get out Misty Rainforest and probably Surveil again. I think we have to Prismari Command that away. definitely a lot of black. The animates any Graveyard, isn't it? Well, let's get down Gaia's Reach Sanitarium and let's Prismari Command Distill 2 and destroy their Mind Stone. So now they have no ramp. We could bring it back. Let's pitch a swamp. Well, let's brainstorm at the end of their turn. Will they pitch? Magnifying glass. I mean, we're about to get brainstorm locked, but it's not the end of the world. I mean, I haven't got enough dig through time yet. I think we put discard the Displacer Kitten. And we can do that at instant speed. Now they're top decking. They are potentially a turn away from being able to play out Ugin. We need one. Oh no, we need more than one. Can I not count? 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we do need 2. Commandeer, because Ugin is a non-creature spell. And Ragavan. Let us dash out Ragavan. We will pitch a reanimate. They're down to 11. We saw an Emrakul. That's quite funny. Or we can commandeer and pitch, so like... Alright, fair enough. And pitch a Memory Lapse and Ill-Timed Explosion. They will get to exile Kefka, but frankly, who cares? Oh. No. We quite comprehensively beat Ugin there. We're up against everyone's favourite Golos, and yeah, we need to mulligan this. Turn on Ragavan. Whether it gets in or not is a different question, but we might be able to get a remove blocker out of the way with Prismari Command. We have a couple of counter spells. We will need a shock in our not Steam Vents. Can't remember what the black red shock land's called. They mulligan quite a lot. Down to 5? Fury's always fun as well. Blood Crypt, that's the word I was looking for. Yeah, we could get block out of that. We're block out the Fury actually. We'd have to pitch the Prismari command. Is that Couches of War? That's a... Yeah, I'll keep that. Right, let's evoke Fury, pitch Prismari command. It's annoying because I'd like to destroy their Chrome Mox, but I would like to get in with Ragavan. No. And we can hold up counterspell for Golos. Which I think we will just do. Yeah, let's get down a halfling. Oh, we need to counterspell that. Well, let's get down Kefka. They don't have anything to discard. Took a breach. There is Golos. Languish doesn't do much apart from wipe half our board. What do they get? We could sink into Stupor Golos and see what they do. Well, let's Thought Cities. Okay. Let's sink into Stupor Golos, because they can put it back into their command zone. Or, I suppose they can... Yeah, put it back into their command zone, so they don't have anything to discard. But we do have Memory Lapse available. Which we will 100% cast. They do get their Overlord now. But they scoop anyway. It's Battle of the Wizards. Fable's okay, but this hand's a bit too slow, I think. This hand's very blue. Incredibly blue. Like, too blue maybe? I suppose we can Memory Deluge. Let's put away Commit to Memory. We do need a third land or even just cast Memory Deluge. But at least we can cast Wash Away. Can't cast Urtai though. Ooh. We can cast Memory Deluge. An Overload Cyclonic Rift I think is going to be very useful for bouncing all their little wizard tokens, or something like Coruscation Mage, which has a Offspring, will make it a bit worse. They definitely have some spells, probably Lightning Bolt or a burn spell. Bird is annoying. Expressive Iteration and land, I think. Well, we need to get a black source, which we can get a Blood Crypt, get another red source as well, and then we can Kefka. Yeah, he sounds like Zoidberg. Zoidberg! Alright, let's pitch a land. Do we draw one or two? I don't know what we pitch. Yeah, just one. But Spark Double, being able to copy Kefka would be quite good. Even though part of me thinks Kefka might die. Well, let's attack. And let's pitch Spark Double. Unfortunately. Urge is not a wizard. What do they pitch? A Fatal Push. Yeah, we played that land, haven't we? Let's wipe their board. Tee-hee. Do they take out? Let's just counter that, shall we? We have two blue. Two red. Let's get a swamp. Fair enough. We can take your last card. Let's put back the Expressive Iteration. And we draw 2. And our opponent scoops. We're just going to be hitting in every turn. In fact, we could just play the land and transform him and draw 5. And because the way it works, you don't exile it and bring it back, so it won't have summoning sickness. And they would have to sacrifice a land because I don't have anything else. So this is an interesting matchup because now we've got some partner commanders in the Final Fantasy Through the Ages set. So partner commanders, they have 2 commanders as long as they both have partner, and obviously you can pick colours from any of them. So they are a 4-mana commander. Well, our colours aren't great, so I think we can mulligan this. This is better. We don't have any... We don't have any red cards for Picture Fury. I don't think we get Savalan because I would like to get out Arcane Signet. Since we don't have blue-red yet. But we can get a Savalan next turn. But, you know, I think we hold up Memory Deluge. Try and find some more lands. Although they may just take Memory Deluge now. Oh no, I take Fury. I'm going to crack him for 1. No. Well, you have to get a Watery Grave. They might have a counter spell. They do not. We'll definitely take the island. And... let's take a counter spell. Let's get into their hand. Well, obviously, they weren't happy with that. I think we just hold up our counter spells. No. Well, let's get down Kefka. We will pitch our opponent, I suppose.